There's a moment every gardener knows too well. You stand over your garden bed after weeks of watering, composting, and fertilizing, only to realize something still isn't right. The plants look pale, growth is slow, the soil feels hard, dry and lifeless no matter how much organic matter you add. Many gardeners assume the problem is nutrients, so they add more compost, more fertilizer, more amendments, but the real issue is often something far more fundamental. The soil has lost its living ecosystem. For centuries, traditional farmers understood something modern gardening often overlooks. Soil doesn't just need nutrients, it needs life. Healthy soil is a living system filled with bacteria, fungi, earthworms, and countless microscopic organisms working together to cycle nutrients and support plant roots. When that life disappears, plants struggle no matter how much fertilizer is applied. Today on Nature's Flora, we're uncovering an ancient soil-building technique inspired by traditional Korean, Japanese, and indigenous farming practices. This simple but powerful method uses fermented organic layers beneath the soil to revive microbial life quickly and naturally. Within days, the underground ecosystem begins rebuilding itself, turning tired soil into a thriving, nutrient-rich environment. Before we dive into the method, make sure you support the channel by liking this video, sharing it with fellow gardeners, leaving a comment about your own soil challenges, and subscribing to Nature's Flora for more deep dives into natural gardening wisdom and traditional growing techniques that still work today. Now let's get into the science and history behind this remarkable soil revival method. Modern agriculture, often treats soil like an empty container that simply holds plants in place, while fertilizers provide nutrients. But traditional farming cultures saw soil very differently. To them, soil was a living organism that had to be fed, protected, and nurtured. In places like Korea and Japan, farmers developed fermentation-based methods to stimulate soil biology. These systems relied on layering organic materials underground, where warmth, moisture, and microbes could break them down rapidly. Instead of waiting months for compost to mature, fermentation jump-started microbial activity within days. This underground decomposition creates the perfect environment for beneficial bacteria, fungi, and earthworms to multiply. As these organisms digest organic matter, they release nutrients in forms that plant roots can easily absorb. At the same time, they improve soil structure, allowing it to hold water while remaining loose and breathable. The result is soil that feeds plants naturally rather than relying on constant external inputs. The process begins by preparing a small underground chamber where organic materials can ferment and decompose. A shallow pit about 6 inches deep works perfectly, whether in a raised bed, container garden, or traditional ground bed. The first layer should consist of small twigs, woody stems, or dry plant debris. This material forms a structural base that prevents compaction and creates air pockets. Those spaces allow oxygen to circulate while also holding moisture, both of which are critical for microbial growth. On top of this woody base, add unfinished organic matter. Kitchen scraps such as banana peels, vegetable trimmings, coffee grounds, and partially decomposed compost work extremely well. These materials provide nitrogen and energy for soil microbes, essentially acting as the food source that fuels the entire process. Moisture is essential at this stage. The materials should feel damp but not soaked. Excess water can drive out oxygen and slow beneficial fermentation. One of the most important elements in this ancient technique is rice rinse water. This starchy liquid, which is often just discarded in the kitchen, is actually rich in carbohydrates that attract beneficial microbes, especially lactic acid bacteria. These bacteria are, well known in natural farming systems, for their ability to accelerate decomposition while suppressing harmful pathogens. When poured into the organic layers, rice water acts as a microbial starter culture that kickstarts fermentation almost immediately. As the bacteria multiply, they begin breaking down complex organic compounds into simpler nutrients that plants can actually absorb. This microbial explosion is really the driving force behind the rapid transformation of soil. After adding rice water, the next step introduces fungal life into the system. A thin layer of leaf mold works perfectly for this purpose. Leaf mold forms naturally when fallen leaves slowly decompose in forests, creating one of nature's richest sources of beneficial fungi. These fungi are absolutely critical for long-term soil health because they form mycorrhizal networks. These underground fungal threads connect with plant roots and dramatically increase the plant's ability to absorb water and nutrients. To complete the mixture, crushed eggshells and a small amount of wood ash can be added. Eggshells supply calcium, while wood ash contributes trace minerals and helps balance soil acidity. Once the layers are complete, cover everything with the original soil and top it with mulch. This seals the underground environment and allows fermentation to begin. Within just a few days, dramatic changes start taking place below ground. The microbial population begins multiplying rapidly as bacteria and fungi consume the organic materials. Heat may develop within the layers as decomposition accelerates, signaling active biological processes. Earthworms are often drawn to the area, attracted by the abundance of organic matter and microbial life. Their tunneling improves soil aeration, while their castings provide additional nutrients. The soil structure also begins to change. What was once compacted dirt gradually becomes loose, dark, and crumbly. This transformation allows plant roots to grow deeper and access nutrients more efficiently. Over time, the fermented pocket spreads microbial activity outward into surrounding soil, gradually revitalizing the entire garden bed. Traditional compost piles rely on surface decomposition, which can take months to become biologically active. Underground fermentation works faster because the environment is more stable, moisture levels remain consistent, temperatures stay warmer, and microbes are protected from drying sunlight. This controlled environment allows beneficial organisms to thrive and multiply rapidly. Instead of waiting for nutrients to slowly release from compost, plants gain access to a constantly renewing microbial system that feeds them naturally. The result is soil that holds water better, cycles nutrients efficiently, and supports strong, resilient plant growth. The true beauty of this method lies in its long-term impact. Each fermented pocket becomes a hub of microbial activity that spreads outward through the soil. Over time, multiple pockets can transform an entire garden into a living ecosystem. Gardeners often notice that plants begin requiring less fertilizer and less watering as soil life improves. Healthy microbial networks retain moisture, regulate nutrient flow, and protect plants from stress. Instead of constantly feeding plants, you're feeding the soil, and the soil takes care of the rest. Healthy soil has always been the foundation of successful agriculture. Long before chemical fertilizers existed, farmers relied on natural biological systems to keep their land productive year after year. If you found this guide valuable, make sure to support nature's flora by subscribing to the channel, sharing this video with fellow gardeners, and leaving a comment about your own soil building experiments. Together, we can bring ancient soil wisdom back into modern gardens and grow stronger, healthier plants the natural way.